Sunday, yeah.
That was it.
Definite.
Yeah.
That was the whole thing. You don't eat meat every day of the week. You know, it's just shrimps or whatever.
Yeah.
So, you know, that kind of thing.
But that was our speciality, isn't it? Sunday dinner was our speciality. How's it going, son?
That's all good.
Yeah, you just need to put that thing in there.
Yep.
Please. Always here. Oh, well done. So he's going to video and have audio as well. Yeah? I'm excited. I must admit, it's my first time. I'm excited. And you know what I'm like? I spoke to the restaurant man. I said, this is what we're doing, blah, blah, blah. Must have thought I was a mad woman. It's good?
It should be. Are you sure you would like to format?
This, Michael, what does that mean? This will erase, there's only like 2 pictures on there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
the
quite
microphones in. So now it's just setting up the mics.
It's amazing.
Everyone
you know when we came in just now, the guy couldn't even say hello. The guy that came up, we came up with a guy,
A black guy, was he? Young guy.
Yeah, I just really, things like that really.
I think he was on it. He was focused on.
On his phone.
It actually happened a lot. It happened in my house anyway. And
Does it?
Well, you know.
I know. So are we good now, son?
But things like that, you know.
I know. We have to look at it
differently.
Thank you very much. We grew up with smoke.
We'll save it until we get on the mic.
Exactly.
Smoke signals. Or just being able to contact each other without having to think about it sometimes. It's funny now I think about it. When we meet up with our friends, there was no phone call, there was no... We all kind of met up, or I don't know.
I don't know.
Communication.
Put the headphones on.
Put the headphones on.
Take us to...
For all of us now?
Not yet. I just need to check it first.
I don't know. Look at us, typical black people. We're supposed to start at 4 and look at us already.
What time do we have until?
6. Because the next person's going to come in. You know they book.
You're booked,
Yeah, so...
Can't speak.
Hello.
Yep.
Yeah?
I can hear you.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Can you hear me through that? Put your headphones on.
The only thing is, I think that's probably why they said 3 people. I think this microphone is kind of...
Okay.
Unless you can...
Go close.
Yeah.
Oh, hello.
Go on.
Hello? Hello?
Yeah.
That's working.
Yeah.
Okay, you, Michael?
Yeah. My first time in the studio. So. You know, as long as we talk loud.
As we talk loud, because look.
Not really loud.
Can you hear me from there?
Yeah, I can hear you, yeah.
That's...
We can hear anyway.
Yeah, we can hear.
Yeah, the room is quite...
Isn't it? Do we still need the headphones on?
The room is quite dark.
I can see, look.
Yeah.
See when it goes up like
it's
that?
moving.
Yeah. That's everyone.
That's even without
We
the...
just
Get
one ear
a
on.
more crystal clear
One.
reaction with the headphones on.
I think
Okay.
I'd wear one.
Yeah, wear one, yeah?
Yeah. You just wear one, yeah.
One is just enough.
Can you hear them, Misha?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
I
cool.
can hear you.
So you
can
take
hear
them.
me.
Oh, is it one now?
There's no time.
Oh, yeah.
To cry. Your folks might understand you by and by.
Very nice.
Yeah.
That's good.
It is.
Oh, I can hear you, look, crystal clear. Okay.
Phone on silent.
Yeah?
You put your phone
Mine's
on
on silent.
Yeah.
Is that set now, the camera?
Yep. It's recorded. It's been recorded. So
Okay.
all that talking and that we done.
All right, cool. All right.
Okay.
I have to keep an eye on the clock, which I don't have.
It's fine.
Yeah? Okay.
Mama, you introduce?
I will indeed, sir. Put your headphones. I know, that's a bit weird. No, do what Michael done, the one ear one. I can't put mine on. You good?
Yeah.
Welcome everybody. Welcome to the Goddess Jazzy Show. Thank you so much for coming today. My name is Goddess Jazzy. Next to me is...
Misha, right?
Opposite from me is...
Michael Braithwaite.
And opposite again?
Leonard Balla.
Welcome everybody. How are we?
Fine, thank you.
We're fine.
Let's start again.
Yeah, we'll call you.
Should I say no?
Yeah, say no, say no. One more time. Yeah.
Okay. Welcome to the Goddess Jazzy Show. Today, my name is Goddess Jazzy, sorry, and next to me is,
Meshach Wright.
opposite from me is,
Michael Braithwaite.
and again,
Leonard Ballack.
welcome everybody on this grey, watery, rainy day. So, how is everybody?
We're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. And who'd like to start today's podcast? All right. Since you lot are looking like
Should we
that.
just introduce ourselves?
Yeah, let's introduce ourselves
Yeah.
then. Okay, I'm Goddess Jazzy. I used to be a phlebotomist. That's the person that takes blood.
Interesting.
Yeah, thank you. What else about me? I had a son 29 years ago who's sitting next to me.
Hi.
And I've got 3 grandbabies. Now introduce yourself.
My name is Meshach. I'm the 29-year-old said person spoken about. I work in somewhat retail / kind of like bank work. So I deal with money all the time. This is my first podcast with Goddess Jazzy. Also, one thing I want to do, I just want to give a big shout out to Beauty at 94 on Instagram. Please follow them. They're a black-owned business. They sell soaps, black hair wash, hair gel, hair everything, but it's all black-owned. So
We shout them out.
yeah,
Great.
that's it.
Okay. Michael, would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Michael Braithwaite. I'm a Windrush survivor, if you can put it that way. I came to Britain in 1961, age 9. I've lived here all my life. I've made England my home. Due to that, I've had many jobs. I've worked. I've been a musician, which I still am, but I had a career at one point in time. And at some point in my life, I decided to go into work in a school as a teaching assistant, working with kids with disability and moderate needs and high needs. And due to the fact that I didn't regulise my status in this country, although I had in my passport indefinite leave to remain, which in those days was something quite British as far as I'm concerned. It came from the realm of the empire. We were people here, come here to develop the country. Anyway, in 2017, when the hostile environment was introduced, I found myself with my back up against the wall in a situation of not having legal status of being in this country, or being able to work, or do my job as I did. I had a good career in my job. I had so much success with kids nobody wanted to deal with, but I seem to have had a knack to be able to put them on the right road. In 2018, I was summoned to the headmaster's office with a HR young person who I've never met before, but before that point in time, before the government changed the strategy of looking at people like me, they had people who were experienced in culture, and people from all over the world. They had experience in understanding that the British realm was far and wide, and due to that fact, in February 2018, I was deemed illegal, lost my job, went through a lot of ups and downs in my time, but this was something I could not foresee or think about in a positive lens. It became very negative in my outlook in life, because when you're doing something positive and suddenly you're deemed to be somebody who's committed a crime, as far as I was concerned, it puts you in a right dilemma. My life has been turned upside down. I'm quite a calm guy, and I've always looked at things methodically, and I've always been not a person for materialistic things, but more for spiritual and enlightenment in my life. I've always had that, and I try to instill that in everybody I work with, not just children, adults, parents, in that sense. And I'm proud of myself, but at that particular time my esteem went very low, and I had to look at the cause of, is it my problem? I asked myself, is this your problem? And I thought back to my mum and dad and how they came here to help the country. My dad worked in the post office, my mum worked in the NHS, making nurses' uniforms and stuff like that. And for them to see, or, you know, they're not here on the planet anymore, but I felt that the cause of my existence at the moment is to honour them in whatever way I can. And for me at the moment, I am not going to stop pushing this situation, because as black people, we've always been second class. We've always been not able to do anything. And growing up as a child, I remember not being able to make the step forward because the British realm and the colonial ideology about people like us, we're not supposed to make the next grade.
100% on that, Michael.
It's a big thing. And, you know, after all this time, I mean, I heard someone sent me something about somebody who was successful, and the comment was, he hasn't lived the black experience, how can he have position? And when I hear things like that, it really annoys me. It really annoys me that we haven't come forward. You know, and at the moment, I am fighting to keep this thing alive.
Yeah, I hear that. What do you think we need though, Michael, for that forwardness? Because I've been saying this from the 80s. That is my time of life. The 80s, where there was so much racism and so much, how can I put it, so much negativity.
So I tell you something, when I first started school in this country, history was something I've always loved. I've loved history, Sir Francis Drake, Sir Walter Raleigh, the Romans, you know, when 1066, it was always plugged in our brains.
Yeah, Battle of Hastings.
You know, think about it.
Yeah.
But then as growing up, I met this a friend of ours. He was like our mentor. He told us about all these other heroes that we never, our heroes that were not mentioned. They weren't even glimpsed. You know, and that put me on a path to think, well, you know, we are better than what they think we are.
Yeah.
And I think because of that, it becomes a problem that when we exhale, we move mountains. And in that sense, you know, it becomes damning for us, but I think they need to put it in schools.
Definitely so.
I mean, I started a Caribbean club for the school I was working with.
Oh, wow.
And you know something, we had more Eastern Europeans and Somalians and than we had our own culture. But
Yeah.
it became so popular, and the education of the Caribbean, we didn't border too much in Africa, but we added certain elements to it, you know. And at some point it became so popular, it became a problem. Because we're not supposed to, it's not in our history books, it's not, we're not mentioned, we're not highlighted in any way. We're down, we put that in the back seat. Somebody else takes the credit for what we have done, and it's always been that way. But you know, I have a strong heart, and I think we need to just be strong about these things.
Yeah, and very vocal as well.
Vocal in the right way.
Yes.
In the right way.
Yeah.
Be positive with your vocal. Don't just mouth off because it's,
Because,
you know, to be positive and study a bit of yourself, because that gives you backing, it gives you a purpose. Because a lot of us in this country, we don't know our backgrounds.
No.
I mean, I can go back far, but you know,
That's
my
as far.
ancestors are from Africa.
Yeah. I didn't know
And
that.
These
even
things,
myself,
there you go.
growing up.
These things are not, they're not put in our path. And we would feel a lot stronger if we had the back behind us to know
Yes.
that I am somebody.
Yes.
I came from somewhere. I came from somewhere more fantastic than where I am now. You know, my ancestors were warriors, they were kings, they were lords, they were everything, you know. And, you know, we need to instill that into the education system.
Definitely
Which
so.
is probably going to happen, but very slowly, because, you know, colonialism and the government, they don't want us to be in that part of their realm, because they know we'll do a better job.
Definitely so.
For real.
What do you say on that, Nisha? Coming from a young person's point of view.
Perspective.
Yeah.
I agree. I think definitely, especially me growing up, I never really had, teachers didn't really teach my black people's background. It's like they avoided or just kind of shunned whatever our history was. They just kind of overlooked it and said, this is our history, you're going to learn about us. hence kind of like how school is kind of looked at, structured. How school is structured, it's not really structured for you to go out and be independent. It's only structured for you, like, now I'm not using like science and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, why? My question is more why. I understand what they're trying to do, but it's like, what is, other than trying to oppress us, what is your main purpose on not teaching us about our background or lying to us, trying to say it's one thing, then as we get older we find out it's something different
else,
and then yeah, so my whole question is just why I haven't got the answers, but yeah, what do you think?
Now I'll push that to this Lenny over there.
Well, I totally agree with Michael into what he's saying, because right now it's like a laser beam of truth is now being unfolded, you know. So it's only now that people are now realizing, as in black people, that we have some form of identity, you see, and that's what it is. We've grown up with really no identity, other than being black. And that's it, you know. So I totally agree with Michael and Mishak into what they're saying, and something that I'm proud of Michael for pushing forward,
most definitely.
and trying to unfold what the real message is, you know.
Definitely so. It's funny because I realised, this is going to sound really strange, I realised being black is when I saw Roots, the film, when it came out in my school time. So when I went back to school, I remember having this angry feeling to all, because my school was predominantly white. I remember having this awful feeling after watching that film and realising, damn, I am different from these. Because growing up we were all the same, and they made sure I knew that I was different. And that's when I realised racism, as to say,
and even certain films like that, like certain like slavery type films, that's from the white person's perspective. So whether or not it went that way, that's up for discussion. But either way, that's like an actual white person's corporation. It's their outlook. So we really don't know nothing about ourselves. Everything that we think we know is from a different point of view. So it's like, who are we really?
I think we'd have to find, them people have gone, our ancestors have gone now, so they would have been the ones to tell us what.
But do you get what I'm saying? Like certain slavery films, even the one, what's that for one with 10 Years a Slave.
Okay.
Even that, like a black man never wrote that script. It never came from a black person
Perspective.
So they can actually layer out their perception of us and make and feed it to us. Then we believe. It's like medicine in a candy kind of thing. Soften it us to us, but give it in a sweet way, so we start to believe and we want more. So it's interesting. Either way, it's an interesting like topic.
Another thing, I mean, growing up, well, I was born in Trinidad. My dad moved from Barbados to Trinidad for work. Worked in the oil fields. And my eldest brother and sister, they were born in Barbados. But work was so skimpy. My dad served in the Second World War. So he decided to move to Trinidad because they had oil fields, and they would go to like the docks and the shipping would go, you stamp a passport for the month or whatever and go work. My dad thought, well, I've got 6 kids, how can I keep doing this? And because of the cry for coming to the motherland, as we call it, to work, he decided, well, he'd leave Trinidad. And at that particular point, my mum couldn't look after all of us in Trinidad, so we moved to Barbados on a boat. Okay, funny story. And they played "Ode to Joy" when we were leaving. How I remember that so as a 6-7 year old. "Ode to Joy," that song, as the boat was leaving. And while we were on the boat, my brother said, "There are no trees." because he thought it was a big island. Anyway, we stayed with our grandparents. But when I went to my grandparents, it was a very religious island, Barbados is. We had to do everything to do with the church. I mean, I'd wake up in the morning to my grandmother kneeling and praying for deliverance.
Wow.
You know, in that sense, you know. But it shows you how we had to live in that sort of realm, British realm, not our own religion or whatever. I don't know how to put it. You know, the African whatever.
Yes.
We had to understand that the church controlled the schools, they controlled everything. And if you look at Barbados, most of the ministers in politics were ministers of the church. So you get this continuation of the British ideology and the way we live, you know, the celebrations, everything.
Yeah.
You know, in that sense.
What's that say?
So what about you?
Yes.
I lost what I was going to say.
Come on, you've been half Trinidad and half West African. Come on.
Like,
We're part of Trinidad.
you're going to catch me there. You know, like with the churches, you know, look in the Bible, one of the commandments is thou shalt not kill. Let's not forget, when they want to bomb a country, it's the churches that give the go-ahead. So people say that they're in religion, fine. If you're in religion, live it. That's what I say. You know, I find it very hypocritical, in fact, devilish, to be of a church or something of religion, but you're given the go-ahead to go and kill men, women and children. You know, so that's how I see it, basically.
Yeah.
I see it as unfair, it's cruel, and the knowledge that we have has just been bastardized by these people, you know. Ask me something else.
Well, I'm not going to ask you anything. What I'm going to do is tell you something. I stopped going to church. Gosh. I think when you was christened was the last time I went to church. Yeah.
You know, I must say, because I can't discredit the church. It's down to their leaders.
Yeah.
It's a handful of leadership.
Yeah.
These lovely people are going to church and giving prayers and so
But they're
forth.
still not telling you the truth, because I asked the priest, I'm sorry to cut you in, but I asked the priest something in the Bible and he couldn't answer. That's what made me stop. He could not answer a question from that Bible to me. That's when I toddled off.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. Well, you know, as Michael was saying, like, we have a knowledge, you know, that was passed down to us from thousands of years ago. Not hundreds, thousands. And realistically, the way how I see the knowledge of the black man, realistically, is love. That's what we were brought up with. Love and loving one another.
So how do we reel it back in then? Where do we begin? Because it's been going on for years.
And it will go on for many more years, you know, but it needs people like...
Well, we're the grandparents now. We're of that age when we had our grandparents that were looking over us, but we are the grandparents of even the strangest boy down the road or the daughter. We are the grandparents, we're the elders.
Well, the only way I think it can change is if when you come, you know, all the world leaders should go around one table, yeah? You know, so many countries claim Islam, Judaism, this, that. Well, if you're as holy as you say you are and your book is, come to the table. And all we can do is give out love. Bring the children up with love and respect for one another. You know, now we've got children running around quick to put a knife in anyone.
Honestly.
You know, and the thing is, these were all innocent souls. You never see a baby vex when it's born. I have not seen a vex baby.
True.
But as I say, you know, all these things are put into them. You put on the TV now, violence. Go to the next channel, sex. Or,
Continuously.
other
stuff,
other stuff and that, you know. So yeah, I can't see it getting any better, you know. The only way it will happen is if all the big boys throughout the world come off of that shelf, and when you put someone to stand for your country, let it be a holy man, a man who believes that there is something higher than all of this and has love in them. That's the only way you can start grooming the people back into the spiritual realm, you know.
You know what, Lenny? That sounds easy. But at the same time, I think when you know better, you do better.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't have common sense. Not
That's right.
saying that.
Well, that's right.
You get what I'm saying? Not a lot of people have common sense, so they're doing wrong. They're doing what they.
Right.
You only know from your own level of perception.
Yeah.
So if you think the sky is green, no one can tell you different.
Yeah. That's
And
right.
it's kind of like, because everyone's kind of manipulating each other,
Yeah.
no one trusts each other.
Yeah.
So you don't want to learn from no one. Hence why back when I was in school and the teacher would tell me, you know, you're supposed to do X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
I'm saying no, it's A, B, C.
Yeah. Well, you know, we have to remember that we've all been mediarized.
Yeah.
Like, everything's through the media. Every young little girl wants to be like whoever,
Yeah.
you know, not themselves.
Yeah.
And that's where
We're all looking at celebrities as like leaders.
Yeah, and I feel you can only develop from within oneself through meditation and prayer and just trying to stay on the good foot. Then I believe good will come to you, you know.
I definitely agree.
Yeah.
With certain generations, especially the divide between the young and the older generation,
Yeah.
a lot of people, there's a big gap
Yeah.
between that. And a lot of the younger generation
Yeah.
don't want to listen to the older generation because they think they know best.
Yeah.
So how do you bring that divide together?
Well, you know, I'd be a liar if I was to turn and say that I used to listen to my elders. As far as I knew, they didn't know what they were talking about.
Exactly.
Because it was too late. I was already pulled into the other end.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
So, I think that's all it is figuring out what do we do to actually bring. That's kind of why me and you get along so well.
Yeah.
Because you don't look at me as a young. You don't look down on me.
No.
You kind of put me in an even playing field.
Yeah.
Where me and you can actually have a one-on-one.
Yes.
And you don't look at my ways as any lower. You kind of treat me as in the same respect.
Because our spirits is the same frequency. We're all the same. We are exactly the same.
I think we need a lot more adults with optimism. Because I work with a lot of young, you know, teenagers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I walk in and I don't judge them. You find a lot of people say, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think no, you can't do that. You don't know what life he's have at home. Or
That's right.
You don't know what his journey is. I said you have to find out the journey before
Exactly.
you make an assumption.
Yeah.
And I'm an observer. I don't step in. I had that problem when I was at school because I work with kids with autism and all that. And I said no, that's not the way I work.
Yeah.
I said they've got triggers that happen along the way, and if I don't observe, I can see what you've given me here, written by some psychologist or who's been reading books all his life.
Like a doctor.
He's read whoever, Pythagoras or whatever. But we move forward.
Not the real life.
We move forward, and I got so much success because of the way I operate. I'm not stressy. I don't fluster. I don't. If there's a problem, I deal with it. Because some people say, I said, look, stop. Let's go back to square one. Let's work onwards. And I always do that with children I work with.
Yeah.
I said, look, as a big person, I could never divide. My brain was not concepting divide.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes one person to say the right things to you. And I've always held that regard. That went to college, you know, and my tutor said to me, Michael, it's only a formula.
Yeah.
It just gets bigger. Don't think of it as being numbers.
Yeah.
He said, just do the formula.